Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, this April the 9th noon update here under a overcast, thickening cloud cover with an approaching weather system just north of downtown Detroit inside the Vincenzo mobile compound with a current official temperature of 43 degrees. Bell notification, comment down below, subscribe, and share to get that industry cheap and best value $3.99 a month Jabroni Killers video description. That this channel with you, the beautiful audience, on our way to 10,000 subscribers, as we've just passed 2,000 subscribers, bringing truth, trust, education, and information, most importantly, back into the sphere. A brief look at the gold bullion has rebounded nicely off of its little bit of a dip from the tariffs. You can see gold hit a new all-time high right around 31.53. We're still not at our $3,500 target, but we're getting awfully close. You can see gold with the tariff news, with the rest of the market did go down, but bullion only went down about 5.8%. But if we look at the tear bullion has been on, in the last month, it's up 6%. The last 3 months, 15.83%. The last 6 months, 16%. The last year, 32%. The last 5 years, 95.7675%, $1,500 an ounce, and the all-time it's up 14,000% or $3,061 an ounce. And gold is holding up nicely. Silver has been much more sporadic, but you can see silver got hit a lot harder than gold. It went down about 15%. So it's down 7% the last month. It's even on the last 3 months. It's down 6% on the last 6 months at current price. The last year, it's up 10%. The last 5 years, it's up 116%. And all time, it's up 2,243%. All right, so silver and gold has held up quite nicely. The mining stocks have been volatile. B2 Gold gave back some of its recent uptrend, but it's having a nice buyback. Kinross Gold has almost got close earlier today to breaching that $13 mark. It's responded nicely, and the position is still up very, very high. But First Majestic, Fortuna, and Pan America Silver did have pretty big losses a couple of days ago, but it's trying to get back some of their gains. And if you look at First Majestic in the last month, you'll see that we were way up here, and then we gave back 26% since March 18th, with most of it coming 20% of it coming with the COVID correction. And then you can see the last 5 days, it's trying to have an uptrend. The last 6 months, it's down 12%. The last year, it's down 31%. The last 5 years, it's down 8%. And all time, it's up 41%, right? And then if we look at Fortuna Silver, the same thing, but this one's held up better. In the last month, it's up 13%. Whoops, Fortuna Silver. The last 3 months, it's up 17%. 6 months, 16%. Year to date, 13%. 5 years, 136%. And all time, it's actually down 18% from its all time from where it started on this chart. But the mining sector, the bullion at the very least, is holding up well. The crypto sphere, as we take a look at it, is attempting to have some of those sympathetic bounces that we were talking about, where you're on major support levels or just near them. Like the Bitcoin price, we came down and, for all intents and purposes, double bottomed at that 73,899 or 74,000 that we've been talking about for quite some time. And if we go into the daily time frame, it's lining up beautifully with this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern that we have right there in purple. You can see we're building the head, and we've been telling you this bearish cross was going to happen. And you can see the Bitcoin price, the bearish cross, is sitting at 85,000, the 50-day moving average, and the 200-day is slightly trending downwards at 85,090. So we're only about $700 and change away from having that bearish cross. We've been talking about an attempt on a major support level where you could have a sympathetic tactical rebound, where you sit there and bounce and jag it up and down and have a little bit of a bounce before it breaks below that critical area. Then it comes up and use it as resistance, and you get a hook nose reversal pattern. So the price is going to be choppy here, sporadic up and downs, but eventually I do think we're going to break down in the coming weeks, and we're going to end up at the 58,903.89 and change. because it is the neckline of this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. Does that mean that it has to do this? Does that mean that I have to be right? Absolutely not, but we've been on top of this ever since we were up in this area where we identified this mountain double top right there and then put our technical target, put our technical target up here, which would have been from the top of the head to the neckline, like so, to the point of a breakout, and that's what got us down there. And then we theorized we were in this head and shoulders, just like the DIA and the XRP and the LCX and DGB and the XDC and so many of these other coins that have broken those patterns and showed them and are now almost down to their technical targets. We believe the Bitcoin might have been in that, and it still appears to be in there because the trading and the market is trading in the form of the pattern. So that's what we think we're at there with the Bitcoin price. If we look at the XLM price, we breached below that 25 cents, something that the first mover advantage in the value of Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. Become members of Jabroni Killers to not get fleeced, heisted, and chisted, and get the trust, truth, education, and information as we're building a growing movement and truth and trust and education on this channel. Thanks to you. Back there, just after the 63-cent high, we were short to medium term bearish. We said we would have a bearish cross, which we did. We said the price was coming down to 25.5 cents. It did. We said there would be a golden bearish cross, which in the next 24 to 36 hours there will be, as we're just about a quarter of a penny, about 25 cents away, or about fractions of a cent away from having that bearish cross. We breached the 25 cents that we were talking about forever. We almost came down to 18 cents, but we still got to hit the 18 cents, followed by what should be some kind of a slight rally off a technical level that could bounce up into this area to get rejected by it. It doesn't have to come that high, but it could, and then come down ultimately to the 14-cent level, to where you could have a much more sustained, potentially bigger rally to 43 cents, maybe to just roll over on itself as a big bear market, a big bear trap, right? That would be a classic bear trap, but that in red is for something in the future. The purple is what we have going on now, and I'm very confident about. The longer term pump and then thereafters in red is just all speculation right now, but as the time comes, we'll get more into that. We have the head and shoulders in XRP. You can see we identified this again with the first mover right up there in purple circle just after the 340 top. We identified this. We drew this pattern on here for you. We said we were in a head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern when the price action was not outside of that purple small circle right there at the top of the head. We identified in purple horizontal line at the 209, 210 level from left to right across your screen as the neckline. And then we put the point of a breakout target of $1.29, and we've held firm and had that beautifully laid out in a super simple, easy way, so you would have that education and information and wouldn't be surprised and have your emotions played with and be manipulated every time there was a sporadic, big, ferocious pump like there was back here on that early March day where that news on the Sunday morning came out, and literally XRP in a 4-hour time frame went up 43%. But members of Jabroni Killers and followers of this channel that are helping spread and grow this message and word of truth, trust, and education still don't want to buy that. You knew, because you were well informed leading into that, anticipating some kind of a sympathetic rally, because we were on the neckline here on that Thursday and Friday leading up to that weekend, and we were theorizing that we should have some kind of a pump over the weekend, potentially as high as the 255, and you understood that we should have went there, so that news was just manipulated to maximize the pump. And we came on in the middle of that 4-hour rally to let you know the price was going to come back down. The head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern was still in effect, and we were trading out the right shoulder. So this is no surprise. It breached the 200-day moving average. We thought it would try to bounce somewhere around that. It wicked down to about $1.61, and then you can see we did have that sympathetic big push back to the upside immediately, where you almost came back up for a classic hook nose bearish reversal pattern, right? Where they pull the rug out from under you, but it didn't quite get up there. Now it's trading sideways. That's not to say with the double bottom here, you can't come back up and run back into this and then get rejected to make the targeted move. So that's something that we're going to be watching out for, but very confident that we are on the right track going down to that technical target. And then if we look at, what was the one we looked at a couple times yesterday, before I go, because this video is already extensively late. DGB we'll look at real quick because it's there. You can see DGB. This was one of the ones that we had a head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern in the daily time frame. You can see we had it drawn out beautifully, and this has been this way for several months. We didn't draw this out after the fact. We were still up in here where the arrows pointed, and we told you our technical target would be down here near that 0.00592. We got close on the wick, but we think we got to hit some full candle bodies, and we think we're going to eventually, as we're staggering near a major support level, once we break that, we think that head and shoulders is going to play out. Xrp-Healthcare, one of my Jabroni Killer members, asked about it. We'll briefly look at it. I don't think we've talked about it on here. We briefly have some lines here. You can see the volume has steadily declined after we had another major pump. And if we notice what we have, and this looks like to be a very new coin, we have a very similar pattern that's developing here. I guess we could go there because at least it looks like we're trying to get some support. We have 3 major rallies followed by 3 major consolidations, right? And if this is going to do something similar to how the last consolidation played out, clone, you could look at this. See this? You had your first pump. Boom, pump 1. And then you came down to the underneath support of the previous pump. So the underneath support of the previous pump would be right there. Then you have pump number 2 in this what looks like a rising wedge, because you've had upper resistance once, upper resistance twice, upper resistance 3 times, lower support once, lower support twice, all in a period that's not really close together but very spread out in time frame to know these are major resistance and support levels. And then if you're going to come down and just do the same thing over again and looking for a repeat pattern, you would look for some kind of major support somewhere. If it doesn't hold just like it didn't hold here the first time, and it dipped out and had a little fake out and came down to that underneath support and then came back into the channel, you could be looking at something like that where the 0.04997 could be a major support level. Just like after you had the pump here and you came back down, you can see where you consolidate. You can see where you there we go. Where you consolidated to was the old underneath support from the last consolidation right there, and that would be the same thing here with Xrp-Healthcare. So those are 2 areas of major support, the one you're on in this uptrend, or if you're looking for a pattern repeating itself, you would look for it to come down to that underneath support at the 0.0499. But if it broke that, then your next support, you'd be looking at it, would be all the way down here, right? And then your major upper resistance on another big pump, I know people are going to ask, would be all the way in the future sometime up here. That would be your next major target if this pattern was still in effect of this rising channel and you held the 0.0499 and then come all the way back up. That would be where you would look at your next major resistance level. But right now we got to see what support level, if and what it holds. Peace and love, the Rock's Eyebrow J.